yelling at people on Facebook.
So fucking great, dude. Everybody hates the guy. I don't think everybody's. I think a lot of people like the time we're in right now because it's so. It's just. I feel like you know what you're gonna get. You know.
Yeah. No. It's a strange time for communication, man. It really is.
Yeah.
It's a strange time for everything.
Yeah, man. It's different. It's so different, dude. It's kind of fascinating. I had the guy Jordan Peterson came on a podcast the other day.
Yeah, he came on your podcast,
yeah,
right?
which was wild because I know his publicist, and I reached out, and the publicist, and then it was wild, and so then he came through because I mean a lot of the people that listen to my podcast are, you know, we talk a lot about like being sober and like people that masturbate too much, kind of weird stuff, you know,
right.
Troubled youths, kind of, I'll say it,
right.
But anyway, it was cool because he like. I don't know. You know him better than I do him. He loves you. He said a lot of nice things about you.
Oh, that's nice. He's a great guy. He's really misunderstood, man. Misrepresented. People think he's like some fascist and some Nazi.
I didn't think that at all.
He's not by any stretch of the imagination. He just says certain things that people are uncomfortable hearing, and whether you agree with him or disagree with him, that's one thing. But that's the demonization is where it gets weird. Even if you think what his idea is foolish. Don't misrepresent who he is as a person because they try to pretend that he's this racist, homophobic, fucking alt-right character. He's not by any stretch of the imagination. He's just a guy that, especially when his principles are being debated or when his ideas are being tested, like he'll stand his ground, and he's very firm about what he thinks is wrong about things like equality of outcome, like making sure that everybody makes the same amount of money, make sure that everybody achieves the same amount of success. Like that is a ridiculous idea that leads to communism and Marxism, and he gets into it, and it made me rethink how I thought about it before then. I thought about it before then like an unattainable goal that socialists lean towards because it's like the ideal. The ideal is that money's not a concern for anybody and everybody just sort of does whatever they want to do because they enjoy doing it, not because they're doing it for money, and that all the money's kind of piled in together and we take care of everybody. It sounds great on paper.
Right.
But then he starts talking about, no, you have to enforce the equality of outcome.
Right.
He goes, when you're talking about there's going to be people that work harder.
Right.
There's going to be people that try harder. There's going to be different varying levels of effort because we're human beings. You have to take that into consideration. And as soon as these people don't take that into consideration, then you're either trying to stop the people that are doing too well, or you're trying to take from them to give to yourself, and how are you enforcing this? And he just takes you down this rabbit hole of thought and really kind of explains the problems with Marxism and socialism. And I'm sure there's really intelligent people that dispute his ideas. I'm not saying that his ideas are infallible or that he's the only voice that I would listen to on these subjects, but he's a brilliant guy, and he's a very nice guy too, and he's really misrepresented and willfully so a lot. And I think it's sad because I think what's missing between right and the left is how much of it we would probably agree on if we could just talk about things rationally instead of contentiously, instead of getting into these right versus left debates, which are just way too common, where everybody's on one side is trying to diminish the person on the other side and get angry, and they're doing a lot of these in front of big crowds, which I think is also weird because then you're playing to the crowd. And I've seen some things that Jordan did with this Michael Eric Dyson guy, where the guy literally wasn't looking at him, he was looking at the crowd, calling him a mean, mad white man. And it's like, these kind of things that people are doing. It's just everyone's just digging their heels in deeper on each side, and instead of like looking at life, like just having an open conversation about things that are troubling, things where we could do better, things where society needs work, or things maybe where our perceptions are off, and maybe we could look at the other side or look at each other or look at the whole thing better and figure out a better way around things. Instead of doing that, everybody's just right versus left, and right and deeper in the trenches and harder, and we got to stop Trump, and I hope we have a recession to stop Trump, and people are saying crazy shit.